Now let's talk about the users of accounting information. So who are some of these users? When their information has been produced, where do they present the information for those users to make the decision? Now those where information has been presented for them to make decisions, those are users of accounting information. They are also known as stakeholders of the accounting information. So when you say users, in this case they are trying to refer to stakeholders / interested parties. So those ones are called stakeholders or interested parties or users. The ones whereby information has been presented to, that information is going to help them make decision. So they are mostly called interested parties because they are actually part of the business. They are interested in the activities of the business and they take part in the activities of the business. The main one is that with the manager. So managers are the ones that are running the business, overseeing the day-to-day operations of the business. So to them, mostly information is going to help them make the decision on how they need to position themselves for the next period in terms of their profits, in terms of the amount of cash, in terms of achieving their business objectives. Because mainly they are there to run the business to achieve the objectives of the shareholders or the owners. Okay? So they need to come up with objectives that are in line with the shareholders. So the objectives for the next period, they are going to be formulated based on the current information for the financial year they have for this period. So that information is going to help them make the decision for the next period or come up with other objectives or strategies for the next period in line with the objectives of the owners or the shareholders of the business. So secondly, we have shareholders, we have the owners. So we know that for a limited company in this case, so for a company, we know that a company is owned by shareholders. So a shareholder is actually a part owner of the business, the ones that are owning shares in the business. So for them, they have ownership of the business. They are owners of the business. So they come up with main objectives of the company, main goals of the business, where they need to position themselves, most the business strategies for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, where do they see themselves better than the competition. So they come up with the main objectives or the main agendas of the business. If the business is not performing well, maybe they say, okay, maybe it's because of our management. So let's vote for a new manager, let's vote for a new CEO. So all those decisions can be made only if they have the current information of the business in terms of its performances. Number 3, we have the bank. So when the business has produced financial information, in this case, they have presented their income statements, they have prepared their statement of financial position. They know how much profit they make, they know how much resources they own. Now, that information is going to help the banks, because in this case, the banks are the ones that provide loans to businesses. So for banks to approve loans to a business, they need current information on the business. They need financial history of the business. So they go check into all the financial performances of the business to say, okay, so the business, is not bankrupt. Okay, the business has a huge capacity to pay this stated amount of loan they are requesting. Okay, let's provide this loan. They just need to check the business capacity if they are capable of paying back all the loans that they are requesting. So they do that by checking into their financial history and its financial performance. 4, we have suppliers. So suppliers, why suppliers are involved as users of financial information? Okay, so for suppliers in this case, a supplier, we know that they provide raw materials to the business. In this case, maybe it's a trading business or it's a manufacturing business. So they provide raw materials to the business. So raw materials to the business can be provided on cash or on credit. So when you say they are providing raw materials on credit, it means the business is going to pay back later. They pay maybe after some time. Payment is made later. So for a business that is buying goods on credit from the supplier, in that case, the supplier will need the financial history of the business or the financial performance of the business. Okay, are they capable of paying back? Because this is a liability to the business. It's a payable. It's a debt in short. So all debts businesses can pay only if they have enough money to pay back all that loan. Only if they are capable, only if they have the capacity. For a business that is bankrupt, we know that suppliers cannot supply goods on credit for a business that is incapacitated. So the supplier needs that information for them to make decision on how much goods they need to supply to that business and on what terms. Yeah, so we have another one. We have an investor. So an investor in this case is the one that needs to give back resources or money, in this case in the business, with an expected return. So we know that all investors, they invest money in the business with an expectation that they are going to get back more than what they invested. So why do they need the financial history of the business? They need to know if they are going to get the return if they have invested all the money. Because the idea behind this is I am an investor. I need to get back my money maybe over 6 months or every month. How much is the return? So they need to know how much they should expect as a return from the business based on the amount they have invested. If the business is making huge profits, that means their return also are going to be more. If the business is making losses, that means their return also are going to be 0 or less. So those are users of financial information. These are the main users of financial information that the business presents their information to.